Hey friend, I hope you are doing good and I hope you are having a great afternoon. I am Mary Hanley. If you do not know who I am, if you do, then hello. It's nice to see you again. Today we're going to talk about the endocrine system. Now, I know that sometimes it can be crazy when you start looking at different organs and different sets of things in your body, and we all do it. We all research and we all start looking at things and we're like, okay, we're going to do better. I'm going to start really exercising and I'm going to eat right and I'm going to do all these things. And then you start researching what's the best way, and there's like 500,000 different things to do. There's 500 different ways of being told how to do it. And this one says stand on your head, and this one says lay on your back, and this one says, whatever. And they're none of them necessarily are wrong, and none of them are necessarily perfect, So this is going to be an overview of what I've learned over the past 8 years and some things that I have done. So this may be something that you listen to and you go, oh my word, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. I just don't understand what she's talking about whatsoever. Okay, that sounds fun. She's going to be a donkey. I don't know why we need to know that. Like, she has to tell me every time she wants to be a doggy, which is perfectly happy. But anyway, so every time we go to start researching, if you're like me, you go research and then it's like, oh, there's too much. I can't take it. I'm tired. I can't do it anymore. It's like, and then you just stop. That's what I do. I just stop. Can you relate? Let me know if you can relate, because there's sometimes there's just too much out there. So I'm going to make this as simple as it can possibly be. These are things I have learned because I cannot do complicated, and I cannot do hard, and I cannot do overwhelming. I've got 6 children. It's got to be as simple and quick and easy as you can possibly get it. So if you're there with me, this is going to be for you. You're going to love this because it really comes down to a lot of what's in your head and some things that's going into your body, but not near as much as what's going on in your head. So we are going to really look at what we can do to make some changes to our body in a quick, easy way. But then long term, there are things you need to do to make changes long term, but they're also not horribly difficult. But there are things that have made a huge difference in my life. 8 years ago, I sat in the floor and I cried because I could not stand up and get out of the floor. My legs hurt, my feet hurt, my feet would go completely numb, so I could not walk on them. And I had just had baby number 5, and I was sitting on the floor holding him, and I couldn't get up. And I really, literally sat there and thought, I am going to die before I see this baby grow up. Like, that's how miserable I was. My body hurt so bad, and I was so overweight. It was miserable. I was miserable. And I decided I was going to make a change. I went to the doctor. Well, they start, throwing prescriptions at me. Oh, you're diabetic. Oh, your cholesterol's high. Oh, your blood pressure's going up. I mean, like, everything was like, here, take more, take more, take more. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. So I decided to take a whole different route. Now, everyone is different, and do not go just stop taking your medicine or doing something, far extreme. I mean, like for me, I had not taken the medicine yet. I had not even started it yet. And I told them I was not going to start it yet, and I am going to try to do something about this before I do anything. And they're like, well, good luck with that, but we'll see you back in a month, and you have to take it then. Okay, whatever. So I was like, oh my word. If you know me, I'm stubborn, like way stubborn bad. So I was not going to take that as my answer. I wanted to at least try to do something more natural before I went that direction. So I did go to the major far extreme. I ended up only eating vegetables and meat for about 6 months, and cleaned out my entire body, which was amazing. And it did like, I can't even begin to tell you the difference that my body made and how I felt. So much of a difference. It was huge. So just by doing that one thing, like cutting everything else out and just doing that, I lost, in 6 months, probably lost about 40 pounds or so. And then in a year, by the end of the year, I had lost 80 pounds. So it was a huge, huge difference in doing that. Once I came off of all, like, the first couple of weeks was really hard. Once I came off of everything, it just kind of became natural. Everything tasted better. Everything was good. Everything tasted like different. It was not the same. I had been so overloaded with sugar for so long, and I was just craving. I just craved bread and sugar all the time, and those cravings were gone. Once I got past that first couple of weeks, the cravings were gone. So if that is something that you're interested in, let me know. I've got a whole nother thing for that, all about weight loss, so we can talk about that. But today we're talking about the endocrine system. So through that process of the losing weight and learning how to take care of my body, I also learned so much other things, like learned about why my thyroid was not functioning like it needed to. I started realizing a lot of things about reproductive organs that I never had thought about. I mean, at that time I had 5 kids and I had baby number 6, and I mean, had never really even thought about how I was getting pregnant. I just got pregnant. It was crazy. So through all of these different changes that was going along in my body, I began to research and do these other things as well. So a lot of this are things that I've done and I've tried and that have worked and has been great, and that I've learned over the last few years. Some of it you're going to really think is really weird, but that's okay. I don't care. I don't care if you think it's weird or not. But so here we go. One thing that I learned about our body in general, not just our endocrine system, but our body in general. Our bodies have opposite organs. So each time that you are having anything wrong with you, there's actually an easy way to figure out what it is that's going on at the time. A lot of times you may be tired at the same time of day. A lot of times you have that afternoon slump of being really tired after you eat lunch, or maybe at night after you eat supper around 7, your stomach may be hurting, or you may wake up with a stomach ache, or any different symptoms. It doesn't matter what it is, but it can all relate back to an organ of some kind. So say for example, between 11 and 1 you're feeling tired and sluggish. You could be having some gallbladder issues, or even a heart issue. It doesn't necessarily have to be one. It could be both. It could be one or the other, but it could be something along those lines. Usually your body is going to tell you what it needs and what is going on within it. So this is the wheel. This is the opposite wheel. Now, it can get a little bit crazier into triple and quadruple circles like this, but we're not going to go there today. We're going to keep this simple. We want to be as simple and easy as possible. So you may want to screenshot this little circle if you want to, and that way you can refer back to it later, because you'll want to, if you are wanting to figure out what is causing you to feel a certain way, you want to go back and refer back to that later. So after I tell you what to be looking for. So in this chart, when you look at it, it says circulation sex. That is all the sexual organs. That is male and female, whichever one. That's the time of day that they are active, that they are energized. Between 7 and 9 p.m., they're energized. That means they're awake. And in the mornings, their opposite organ would be the stomach. So at between 7 and 9 in the morning, your stomach is energized and awake. So what that means is when you are at rest, or when that organ, I'm sorry, back up. Your circulation sex organs, all of your reproductive organs, male and female, in the evening from 7 to 9, they're awake and energized. That means that your stomach is opposite to it. It is asleep at that time. It's resting. It's repairing itself. It's doing the jobs it needs to help it to continue to function like it needs to. So that's when it's sleeping. Now, the triple warmer, where it says triple warmer, which is next to the sex one, it is for the adrenals, the pituitary, and the thyroid. It's all three of those together, and all three of those are opposite to the spleen. So that means that at between 9 and 11 p.m., the triple warmer, those three little organs, I'm sorry, I've got allergies so bad, like everything's itching and running and bleh. But the triple warmer is opposite to the spleen. So between 9 and 11 in the evening, it is energized and awake, but your spleen is asleep. It's resting, repairing, and doing the things it needs to do to relax, or to repair, I mean. So as you can see, if you take a screenshot of it, you can go around the entire thing. Now, what I want you to be sure to watch, so like take notes every day. Now, this it's not time consuming. Don't try to make this more difficult than it is, but just take note, like as you're going through your day and you wake up, do you wake up tired? Are you already tired before you ever even get out of the bed? So like say you wake up between 5 and 7 in the morning. Well, your large intestines are awake and energized at 5 to 7 in the morning. So if you're waking up already tired, then your large intestines, maybe something with your large intestines and your kidneys, because your kidneys are opposite. So something between those two may be having an issue of some sort. Say like in the evening, you just feel really sick after you eat supper, or you just don't feel good between 5 and 7 in the evening. That could be your kidneys or your large intestines, because that's your opposites. Now I know this sounds really weird, but it really is funny how, because I've watched it. I've done this to myself. I've done it with my kids, even like if they say, oh, I'm just so tired. Like if they go through several days and they're like, I'm tired and I don't feel good. I'll start noting what time of day they're doing this and what kind of symptoms they're having. Whether it's a headache, I mean, it can be anything. It could be a headache. It could be a mood swing. Any kind of pain that you may be having. It could be anything. Sleepiness, whatever, something that should not be there. An issue that should not be there, but it is there. That is a good way, just a very quick indicator of what could be possibly going on within your body. Something that's not supposed to be there. Now, why that relates back to anything is if we are aware of the way our body feels and the way it's supposed to feel, then we can begin to take care of our own body. We really need to learn. We have become such a people so reliant on medication and over-the-counter things. We have a headache. Oh, well, let's go take some medicine. Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, let me go get some Tums or whatever. And we don't always... So every time that you're having something odd go on, even if you're waking up in the middle of the night, you wake up at the same time every single night, there may be something going on. Because like in the middle of the night, you have your liver from 1 to 3 in the morning. Your liver is energized. So if it's ramping up, there may be something going on with your liver. It may be overtaxed. It may be clogged. And if you go back and listen to video from last week about the liver, it will explain to you that our liver has to be cleaned out. It is like the main source in our body that it cleans everything, cleans the blood, cleans everything. And it gets so over toxicated from all of the stuff that we put into it all the time and all the food that we eat that it just can't take it sometimes. So a lot of times, if you're waking up in the middle of the night, it may be that your liver is having issues and it's needing some help. And there's tips on the other video of how to clean out your liver. Its opposite is the small intestine. So it could even be your top small intestines, which all of that, still there again, if your liver's not cleaned out, and then all of that nasty stuff coming out of the liver is going into the small intestines too, you know, all of that's tying together. So still can be one and the same. You know, like you just want to really be careful. So what about our endocrine system? I say all of that because we really want to think about our body as a whole, that not only one thing, like if our pituitary gland is having issues, that doesn't mean that something else is not having an issue. Like that's not your only thing in your body that's having an issue. Everything's tied together. Everything, your blood flows to the entire of the same body. So everything's tied together in some way or another. So by being aware of this circle, you're able to get a good generalized idea of just becoming aware of paying attention to your body, paying attention to what's going on in each area. So we're going to focus this week on the endocrine system and really begin focusing in that area. And then each week we're doing a different organ and trying to work through each part of the body. So what does our endocrine system do? It actually has a very unique delivery system that goes through the hormones, delivers, sends hormones to targeted organs all throughout our body. And by doing this, it helps all the keep everything properly functioning everywhere, which is really good, which goes along with our reproductive organs, because if those hormones are not going through our body the way they need to, then we can't reproduce like we need to. And of course, we know our hormones affect our mood. It's going to affect having babies, our sex drive. It's going to affect everything. So all of that ties together all in one, just like anything else does. So one other thing I want to add before we really start digging deep into each different organ, because all through the week this week we're going to talk about different pieces of like we're going to talk about the pituitary gland tomorrow and the reproductive organs on Thursday. I'm trying to think what day we are on, male and female, and ways that we can keep these things healthy. And then but today I wanted to give you just an overview of everything all together, and then Friday we'll do thyroid. So we're going to kind of take each piece, but I want to do one generalized today, everything together, and then we're going to break it apart and what can we do for each one of those pieces. Now, when we talk about our health in general, now I know a lot of times we all think, oh, I'm tired and I'm sick and I don't feel good, so I'm going to go to the doctor, and the doctor's going to give me this medicine and it's going to make me better. But a lot of times our body is so uniquely made, and God don't do anything by accident. He doesn't do anything by happenstance. Everything has a purpose and has a plan, and our bodies were made very special. And even when it comes to our emotions are held in our body. We have a limbic part of our brain, which is the emotional center of our brain. All of our emotions are held there. When we are being told all kinds of things, like everything comes into our mind, it's just in our mind, everything's swimming around. You know, you begin to get stressed because there's just so much stuff there, and you don't really know what to do with all of it. But then you have to do something with it. So we either have this choice. We go, oh, I'm afraid because there's too much stuff coming into my head. I've got too much stuff going on. It's overload, and it starts just like sirens going off, and you go crazy, and then you begin to have a panic attack. So then everything just goes nuts. So then you're fearful, so then you're holding on to that fear. So every time that thing, that same issue comes up, or something that makes you have that same fear comes up, that same fear comes back rampant because you're keeping on doing that same thing. And that's what I was talking about earlier with the ruts in our brain. Our brain remembers, so it holds on to it. It remembers that feeling, so it pulls that fear back. And it's like, oh, nope. Oh, this is where we were before. This is where we're going to have to live. We're going to have to live with this fear because I don't know what else to do with it. We hold fear in our liver, which is not good. I mean, anger in our liver, sorry. If we're holding on to anger, if somebody does something to us, we get mad, we internalize it, we hold on to it. That anger is held in our liver. Our liver, as we know, like we just talked about, it's supposed to be cleaning everything out, and it's supposed to help keep our body healthy and keep blood flowing that's good blood and good oxygen flow. But we can't if we are in that place of having anger being held up, or if we're holding on to the fear, or if we're holding on to any other emotion. We hold emotions all over our body in different ways, in different kind of categories. Our brain only knows what we tell it. It cannot tell fact from fiction. So we have our conscious mind. That's where everything comes in all the time. Like everything starts pouring into our conscious mind. But then our subconscious mind has to start deciding what to do with all of this information. Am I going to hold on to this fear, which is usually what happens. That's usually what we end up doing, is holding on to the fear. And so we internalize it and we keep that in our subconscious mind. It doesn't matter if it's real or not. And usually our fears are something that don't even come about. Like we're already just making up this fear. And it's not even really doing anything. It's not really any trueness to that fear. So sorry. So when you internalize the fear, every time that feeling comes up, it keeps coming there. But what if you put that on the other side and you said, I'm not going to be afraid of whatever this thing is. Like, because everything's just is. Everything, like, if we're sick, well, you're just sick. I mean, like, you can't make it change. You can't just happen to just make things be different. It'd be nice if we could. But if we go ahead and we say, no, I am not going to be afraid, and I'm not going to be sick, and I'm not going to...
God is being mean to me.
Wow. Puppies have issues. Okay, so sorry. So we have to decide what we're going to do with everything that comes into our mind. Now, this is like a very, very quick crash course on the mind. But we get to choose what we do with whatever comes into our mind every single day. Because our mind, our brain, our subconscious mind does not know fact from fiction. So you can tell it whatever you want it to believe. Which, when I learned that, I was like, that is crazy. And I thought that was kind of stupid. But it is true, because I can tell it whatever I want to. And I believe whatever I tell it. And it's fine. I don't have to live in fear. I do not have to live in worry. And I do not have to live in anger. I can do whatever. So I say all of that to say this one little thing. Barbara Brianin, in her book Hands of Light, says this: illness is the result of imbalance. Imbalance is the result of forgetting who you are. Forgetting who you are creates thoughts and actions that lead to an unhealthy lifestyle and eventually to illness. The illness itself is a signal that you are imbalanced because you have forgotten who you are. Illness can thus be understood as a lesson you have given yourself to help you remember who you are. So, as I'm closing with this little piece today, I want you to really think about, between today and tomorrow, as we start getting into each one of these different pieces of our endocrine system, I want you to think about illness is imbalance. We need a balanced body. Everything is about balance. God did not create a chaotic world. He created a very balanced world. Everything lives in balance, and everything functions in balance. But when something gets off balance, that's when things go wrong and things go bad. So remember, think about the fact that illness is from the fact that your body is imbalanced. What do you need to do to bring it back into balance? And that is what we're going to be talking about over the next few days, because there's tons of things that you can do just mentally in your thinking. Because I don't know if you've ever done this. I've done this and I've thought about it so many times, even before I ever learned this. You can tell yourself, oh, I don't feel good. Oh, I don't feel good. Oh, it's been such a long day. I am so tired. Oh, I'm tired. And the more you say it, the tireder you get. But if you start telling yourself, I feel fine. I feel great. I am energized. I am feeling excited. I'm ready to go do this thing. Like, you can dread anything. But you can also, if you can get yourself to the dread, you can get yourself out of the dread. You can get yourself on the other side of that. And I've done this so many times, and it really does work. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. So we have to think in terms of what are we telling our body and what are we telling our brain every single day, every moment of every day, and thinking about what can we do to bring our body back into balance. So between today and tomorrow, I want you to think about the things that are in it not balanced in your body. Think about the circle that I gave you. Take a screenshot of it and think about through the day, like when you feel tired, when you feel sluggish, when you have these different issues going on. Are you waking up in the middle of the night? Are you having headaches really bad? What time of day is that? Think about each one of those things. And when you really start thinking about it and noticing a pattern, then you can begin to start working in those areas. And at some point over the next few weeks, we're going to touch every single organ. So you will be able to see, okay, this organ. So like if you're looking at the little circle and it says, okay, your large intestines is what's having the issue. Well, at some point we're going to get to large intestines, and I'll tell you some things you can do with your large intestines that's going to be good and simple and great things for your body that you can do that's easy, that can make a difference without having to go find piles of different medications and stuff to make that better, especially if you have constipation issues or things like that. Now, it's going to be a little bit funny and weird. I'll just tell you that right now, but it works and it's great. So there are a lot of things that we can do naturally to make our bodies as healthy as they can be. Not to say that we won't ever have to have a doctor again. Not to say that we don't need doctors. Like, doctors and nurses are amazing and we need them all the time. Like, all the time. But I'm saying that there are a lot of things that we do to ourselves every single day that we don't have to be doing. There are things that we are doing in unnatural ways and things that are not good, and the things that we eat and the things that we put in our body and on our body that we can be doing that's totally different and have a healthier body and to bring about that balance that we need. So those are the things we're going to be talking over the next few days. So tomorrow we will be talking about our pituitary gland. That is going to be tomorrow. So I hope you are excited to learn about the pituitary gland. It's going to be an interesting little discussion. And the next day we will move on to the next thing. So I hope you'll have a great evening, and I will talk to you soon.